Hey, this is my ROH DVD review of Aries versus Richards. The very praised match and very praised show. It's getting very good reviews on YouTube and on ROHWrestling.com. So let's see how it was. First match, we had the Briscoes versus the House of Truth. For an opener, this was kind of disappointing. It just didn't have, it didn't have a lot of energy. The House of Truth did look pretty good here, but the ending was kind of flat. When Mark Briscoe goes for the Doomsday device, the finisher, he's not really getting the lift that he used to get. So, but it was okay. It just, for an opener, I think it should have been a little bit better. And that's the thing with Adam Pearce, since the biggest complaint I have with him is his openers aren't as good as the openers when Gabe used to book it. So, but I'll talk more about him later. Next up, we have Tyler Black versus Claudio Castagnoli. This is the Pick 6 series match. I think this is the first show when they started doing the... I think it was Boiling Point. But here we get Tyler Black, who was ranked number 2, versus Claudio Castagnoli, who was ranked number 6. And this was a very... it was a pretty good match. I mean, I'd probably say 3 stars. It was very, very slow in the beginning. It was very tough to get into. Tough to get into at first, but... eventually, I knew it would pick up, and it did pick up. And there was some, like the last 2 minutes were really good. Some really nice reversals, nice fast-paced wrestling for the last 2 minutes. And Claudio went for the UFO torture rack type of thing, and Tyler Black did a really nice counter to get the victory. And it was just a very, very solid match. Now, let me talk about the Pick 6 thing for a second. I kind of have mixed feelings on it. I think it's pretty good, but it's just very tough to follow. I'm clueless right now about who is the number 1 guy in the Pick 6 right now. I just haven't been keeping up with HDNet, and these shows are about 3 months old now, so I'm not sure who is number 1. I know Roderick Strong was number 1 at this point, but I'm not sure who number 1 is right now. So, but they used to do the top 5 rankings back in 2005 and 2006, and it was a good way of keeping everyone in line to make sure, not just anyone would get a title shot. The reason they started doing the top 5 rankings is because, when Bryan Danielson became the ROH World Champion, it seemed like anyone could just get a title shot out of the blue, because Danielson got his title shot after being off for the whole summer. So, I don't know. It is a good thing. So, next up, we had Erik Stevens and Joey Ryan versus the Super Smash Brothers. Without a doubt, this is probably the weakest showing the Super Smash Brothers had. It's not really their fault. They really weren't booked. This match was booked to go that long. It was just about establishing the Embassy as a dominant force. Joey Ryan looked pretty good here. He hit some sweet drop kicks. Erik Stevens has lost a lot of weight, and he just doesn't look. He doesn't look like the monster he used to look like. But this is, like I said, this is just about getting the Embassy a big win. All right, next up we have the match that pretty much almost stole the show. This is actually a Pick 6 match as well. We have number 3 Kenny Omega versus Katsuhiko Nakajima. And this is actually supposed to be Kenta versus Omega, but Kenta actually, I believe he tore his ACL, or I think it was his ACL, so he was not available for his November tour. So they brought in Nakajima as a replacement, and actually I think this worked a little bit better. Kenta had a great run in 2009, but I think maybe it would have been a little bit overkill to bring in Kenta for all these shows again. So Nakajima, bringing him back, it was very refreshing, actually. So, yeah, him and Omega had a great match. I wouldn't say they had great chemistry, but, just solid, amazing action here. Nakajima hit a lot of nice kicks, and Kenny Omega countered the kicks beautifully. I think it was Nakajima went to work on Kenny Omega's legs. So, yeah, and Omega had a tough time trying to get back into it. But once he did, Omega hit a lot of nice offense. Just really great stuff. Great near falls. Crowd pretty much was into the whole match, and like I said, it almost stole the show. It was very, very solid. These two guys made a great combination. This match really sets up a rematch down the road. So hopefully they can work together, sometime at least before the summertime. So very, very good stuff. Definitely check it out. 4 stars without a doubt. All right, next up we had Kenny King and Rhett Titus versus Delirious and Colt Cabana. Both these tag teams are kind of stale right now. Colt and Delirious as a tag team, I mean, it's just a very stale situation. And Kenny King and Rhett Titus, I'm kind of tired of seeing these two guys team up together. I think they need to pull the trigger on this team and just let Kenny King go off into a singles. Let him become a singles star at this point. Just very generic stuff. I mean, it was pretty fun. They did some fun stuff. They did a Cabana and Delirious did a merry-go-round swing, which is pretty fun. The crowd liked that, but I don't know. This was probably the weakest match on the show. So next up we had another pick six match. We had the number 1 ranked guy, Roderick Strong, facing Chris Hero. Hero and Strong have had very good matches in the past, but you know, this wasn't as good as some of the better ones that they've had. I remember they had a match at PWG at Speed of Sound that was 4 stars. The match at Battle of Supremacy was probably their best match from 2008. But you know, they just did their thing. They didn't do anything too special. You know, you get the typical stuff between both of these guys. I mean, both of these guys are MVP candidates from 2009. You know, played a nice supporting role on this card. So, I mean, what more could you ask for? I mean, this card was pretty stacked for a show that was you know, named after 2 wrestlers. So, just a very, very nice supporting match. 3.5 stars. So, next up we had Kevin Steen and El Generico versus the Young Bucks. They actually had a match at Final Battle. I thought the Final Battle match was awesome. It stole the show. This wasn't quite as good as that. This started off very slow. It didn't have any energy at all. Crowd was pretty much dead. But eventually, you know, once they gained some momentum, they hit all the spots, and it just got really, really fun. And you know, crowd really by the end of the match, the crowd really liked it. They chanted, "This was awesome!" And you know, Steen kind of looked like he was hurting out there, but you know, Generico was awesome as he always is, and you know, like I said, the Young Bucks are they were probably the most reliable tag team from 2009. Like, you know, you put them in the ring, you're pretty much guaranteed something special as long as they got the time out there. That's pretty much exactly what it was. So not as good as the Final Battle match, but you know, really it did deliver in a big way, though. I'd probably say at least 4 stars because the second half of the match was, you know, it was that good. It was really exciting. Next up, we had the main event. We had Austin Aries, the ROH World Champion, versus Davey Richards. For the first time, we get to see Aries and Richards go at it for the ROH World Title, and you know, this was honestly, I was a little bit disappointed. You know, guys really hyped it up a lot, so I expected a lot, but you know, the crowd was pretty average during the match. I mean, they were good during the second half of the match, but you know, the first half of the match they were pretty sluggish. Davey Richards, you know, he kind of played the face role. You know, Aries pretty much said, you know, we're not going to do no heel face bullshit. So, you know, Aries definitely dictated the pace. He definitely controlled the match throughout the whole match. He pretty much controlled it. Really dissected Davey Richards. Went to work on his knees. You know, did everything he could, you know, just to limit Davey Richards' offense. It was a really good, a lot of nice storytelling here. But, you know, personally for me, you know, if I was going to book a Davey Richards Austin Aries match, I would not have let these guys go 45 minutes. I think it's a little bit too long. Personally, from what I've seen, I'm not that big of a fan of Austin Aries wrestling, you know, the 45 to 50 minutes, because you know, I wasn't that big of a fan of the Final Battle match. But you know, I'll give him the credit though. Aries wrestled a very smart match here, and you know, eventually Davey Richards did pull off his great offense. He kind of had to suck it up and do some fighting spirit because his knees were pretty much shot, or his legs were shot, and he still did the Tope Con Hilo. This is probably the sickest one I've ever seen. He pretty much almost missed Aries and went into the 4th row. I mean, the Shingo one was pretty bad, but I think this was even worse. And you know, he's just gonna kill somebody one of these days. I mean, that was a crazy dive. He did the Aries is actually on the top rope, and he did the running German. I think Chris Hero's calling it the German avalanche suplex from the top rope, where, you know, Richards made Aries flip in midair. I mean, that was a crazy spot. You know, the craziest spot in the match wasn't as you know, it wasn't as you know, memorable as I thought it would be, but it was still pretty sick. You know, they did pull out some sick stuff, but this is more of a storytelling kind of match, and it wasn't as explosive as I was hoping for, but it's still an amazing match. Still 4.5 stars. I'd say it's probably definitely one of the top 10 ROH matches of the year. Some people are saying this is actually the show of the year. I wouldn't quite agree with that, but you know, it's definitely one of the top, probably one of the top 5. I mean, it's really good. You get a lot more than just Aries versus Richards. You know, by the end of the Aries Richards match, you know, Aries got on the mic and it was very classy. You know, he kind of admitted that Davey Richards definitely brought the best out of him. So it was a nice change of pace for Austin Aries because he hasn't really been, his forte hasn't been about putting on great wrestling matches. He's pretty much been wrestling for himself just to, you know, find shortcuts to keep the title. So this wasn't really him doing that. It was more of a, you know, Aries just wrestling and doing what he does best. So this is still an amazing match. So I wouldn't quite give it 4 3/4 or the 5 stars. Some people are actually giving it that. I'd probably say 4.5. But like I said, you get a lot more than just Aries versus Richards. The undercard is extraordinary. You get 4-star matches. You get 2 4-star matches and a 3.5-star match. So it's just it's an excellent show. So definitely pick it up. All right, Aries versus Richards. It's a DVD cover. 2 of the best guys from 2009. So check it out. All right.